For those of you who haven't dabbled in Adobe Express before, I want to go ahead and offer a short training on how to interact with Express and show you some of the marketing and branding tools and elements that are uploaded into a brand folder in Express. That being said, it is not a requirement that you use Express to do your work as an extension professional, but it is one tool that is designed to hopefully save you some time in creating marketing pieces, whether it be flyers, social media graphics, research posters, trifold brochures, and anything in between that you might be doing for your job responsibilities. So the first thing we need to do is navigate to Express, and because Express operates best in Google Chrome, I encourage you to open Google Chrome, and then you are going to navigate to the following address. It needs to be new.express.adobe.com. Again, that's new.express.adobe.com. And then when you select that, you will be prompted to log in. And this is where you use your OSU login credentials. So I'm going to go ahead and type in mine and continue. And whenever you get to this screen, make sure that you select this one, a company or school account. For those of you who might have personal accounts, you won't have access to all the brand folders within your personal account, but you will if you select that school or company account. And then from there, you might be prompted to enter your OSU credentials again. You may have to do a Duo security touch, and that's fine. But once you get through that whole process, this is what you will see. And this is essentially just the home page, the starting place within Express. Once you get in here, there are several places you can navigate to. If you'll notice up here, this is a summary of all the things you can do within Express. You can do social work, you can do video work, you can do photos, create documents, create marketing pieces, and it also has an AI tool here. Where I am going to spend most of the time today is over along the left navigation. You will see some options here for home, which is where we are now. An option that says your stuff, and then the brand's shield. And this right here is where we are going to spend the most time today. Before we dive into this, though, I do want to make a couple of notes about your home page here. First of all, if you select this marketing option up here in the top, on the upper part of the screen, if you select marketing and scroll down a little ways, Adobe Express has a built-in QR generator. QR code generator, so you can use that and plop it right into your documents as you create them. It's incredibly slick and very, very handy to have. Another thing you can do from here, and you can access this option other places too, is you'll see this option up here. It says start from your content, and this is one of my favorite features whenever starting a document or creating a working file between one of my colleagues. If you select this option, you can actually upload, I'm not going to do it now for the training, but you can upload a PDF file. And when you upload that, after you upload it into Express, it'll separate out all of the elements for you and make that PDF editable. So you can take any PDF that you have. If you actually have a Word document and you want to open it in Express, all you have to do is save that PDF, save that Word document as a PDF, and open it in Express. It's just a really, really handy tool to be able to work across platforms. Okay, so let's go ahead and just navigate over here. As I mentioned, this is your home screen. Okay, when you click on that, this is what you will see. There's options for presentation, flyer, poster, logo. You can kind of get lost going down rabbit holes with some of these options, but they are all certainly opportunities within Express. The reason why I would prefer that you stick to starting a new marketing piece from a template though here in the brands folder. So again, we were at the home button, okay? The templates that I prefer that you choose from are in here, and we'll get to there in just a second. So again, I'm going to navigate over to home, okay? I'm going to come down one option and go to your stuff. Now this page right here will look very, very different depending on your login. A couple of things I want to mention while we're here though is one, you can create folders for different projects. So if you work on different teams, or if you maybe work across program areas within your county, you can create folders within your login to organize the work that you do. And also be able to organize files and give different people access to them. And we'll talk more about that later. Another feature of this page is you'll see over here on the right-hand side where it says yours, and then there's a drop-down menu. There's an option that says shared with you or recent. This shared with you file is incredibly helpful when you're collaborating with other people. So if I actually select on this one, different files will appear. And these are files that I personally have not created, but other people have created and then shared them with me for input. So that's where you find those ones that if someone says, oh, I shared the file with you, and you aren't seeing it on under your stuff, you just navigate over to the right-hand side here and click shared with you. You should be able to access them there. Okay, now from here, let's go ahead and select the shield with the B in it, and that's the brands folder. And whenever you do that, you should have a folder that appears that says extension. You might not see any of these other ones, and that's okay. They're under construction. But you should have access to this one that says extension. If you do not, please send me an email or a Teams chat and let me know, because there might be something crossed behind the scenes that I need to iron out. So just let me know if you do not have this. But since it's here, let's just go ahead and click on it. And you'll notice a few things populate up here. Here's an overview of the brand folder. If we click on here, here are all of the preloaded extension marks or extension logos in Express. And you'll notice these are not college logos, they are extensions. If you navigate over to colors, here are the colors that we operate with. And our colors are the scarlet, the gray, the black, and the white. All of the other colors you see here are considered accent colors. Therefore, they may not ever be used as the primary color in the marketing and communication pieces we do. They are used, as their name suggests, just accents. If you move to the right, another click there, you'll see the fonts option. And when you select this one, you will not physically see all of the fonts loaded in this folder. It should just appear as mine does right now. It'll look empty, but I assure you that all of the fonts that you need, the entire families of the Buckeye Serif 2 and Buckeye Sans Serif 2. They are all loaded behind the scenes for you. So you don't have to upload them on your end. That footwork has already been done. I will come back to this folder. This is where we'll spend a lot of time talking, but just very quickly while we're here, this is quite a robust library of quite a selection of different templates that are available to you, and they all reflect the extension mark. They are all branded appropriately. They all fit within the guidelines of our brand standards. And they are certainly a very powerful tool and a very hopefully time-saving tool for you, time-saving tools for you as you approach program workshops, yard signs, social image graphics, pull-up banners. There's bookmark options in here, newsletters, meeting agendas. So like I said, we'll come and work in this folder, in this space more after we talk about the next and final category here, which is the assets. And when you navigate to the assets, you will see lots of different options here. You see the CFAS bug, you see the secondary 4-H logo, you see some fun Buckeye art, some block O's, all of the icons you see here. There's some fun patterns, the 4-H logo, Ohio marks, or Ohio outlines, OHIO. One thing I will mention while we're here is that this is not ideal in my opinion, that I can't reorganize the icons in here. Say for instance, this whole set up here was uploaded after I uploaded these ones, and so they're separated. So I've actually made a request to Express to be able to reorganize those. So hopefully that works into their updates in the future. Another thing I will mention while I'm here is you might say, oh, Marissa, well, there's, extension logos in here too. Here's a line of them and here's a line of them. That is true. And for the sake of keeping this training focused on Express, I will just mention that the reason why these are not with the other extension logos is because these ones are the ones that are used for any merchandise and apparel. They are the trademarked logos. So they have a very specific use. The ones that are in this logo folder here are the ones for the print and the signage and social. So the majority of the things we're creating in Express will use these ones. Okay, so again, that was the assets panel. I think that's all for this page. Okay, let's go ahead and navigate over to our templates. And we're just going to dive into showing you how to customize these on your end. So if you hover over these, you should be able to see this little gray box that appears. There's a ... there. And also, here we go, event flyer 2. It tells you a little description, a small poster template, event or workshop template. So you can go across there and these selections will appear. And what I really appreciate about Express is that you see these little thumbnails, these little teasers of what you're getting before you commit to that template. So I hope that that's helpful to be able to visualize what the template will look like before you get to work with it. For the sake of this training, let's just go ahead and pick one of these. Excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and select this one, the event flyer 2. And whenever you right click on it, you will get an even closer look at what you're committing to or what your file will look like. You will also notice that this little instruction box appears, essentially asking you to not change font color or the style of fonts as they appear in this template. So by all means, update what the text box say, how they read, but please don't change, say, the number 30 to the sans serif because it's intended to be a serif font. Okay, while we're here, you can either, if you decide, oh, no, that's not what I was thinking that would look like, I want to cancel and go back and make a different selection. But your other option from here is to start a new file. So when you select the start a new file, what's happening is Adobe Express is actually creating a copy of that file and migrating it under your login. So I will not be able to see all of the jobs everyone in Extension is creating off of a template in the brand folder. You are going to, when you select that, it physically moves a copy of that into your login, into your stuff so that you can see it. I will be able to see it if you share the file with me, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But for that initial saving, if you will, happens in behind the scenes, and then it moves a copy of it over to your login. The first thing I want you to do whenever you are creating your own version of this template is to navigate up here into the header, and there's a black bar up there with the white font. And if you click in that, I know it doesn't suggest just by the way it looks that you can click in it, but you can. If you click in that, go ahead and rename your file. So I'm just going to name this Express Training Flyer. And hit return. And then that way you don't have maybe 5 different workshop templates that are just named workshop template, that generic name that it gives it, that you actually name it specific to the workshop or the event that you're promoting. Once you are here, all of these elements are editable. So this is where you can go in and populate these fields just as you would a PowerPoint template or a Word template. So let's go ahead and use an event headline. Let's say we want to have a workshop on Emerald Ash Borer, BORER, education. And this is where, if you want to maybe fill that space a little more, go ahead and you can increase the size of that font, but just don't change it to a different font style. And then go ahead and you can populate, a couple of sentences, 2-3 sentences about what the program is going to focus on here. You can update these fields. Actually, this was let me go ahead and do, let's do raised bed, backyard gardening. It's because I want to be able to surely find a quick picture to populate in here. Let's do raised bed backyard gardening, or backyard raised bed gardening might be better. Anyway, you get the gist. So we want to be able to pick an image that's relevant to our workshop, right? So if you there's a couple ways to do this. If you right click on the image, I'm going to click off again, and just do a right click. The slickest option is this first one that says replace. I actually learned this from one of your colleagues, so I'm grateful. I'm always learning Express tips and tricks. I'm self-taught and I will never profess to know it all. So I appreciate other folks sharing what they've learned too. Anyway, but when you select replace, you will notice over here on the left side that a panel will appear that says media. And from here, you can upload your own photo. So if you have a particular photo in mind that you'd like to use, you can do that. Or if you want to search this, Express is linked to the Adobe stock photos. So you can certainly search that library, and you don't have to navigate away. It's all housed within here. So say I want to do a raised bed garden. And then all of these pictures come up as options for raised bed garden images. And then you just select which one you want. And it keeps the size for you. It keeps the placement for you. Literally all you have to do is pick the one that you feel is most relevant to your topic, or that best represents your topic. Okay. Again, that option came to you by right-clicking on the image and selecting replace. Okay. Again, you can go down here and populate these areas, register by, use the web address. This has the accessibility statement on it for you, which needs to appear on any programming materials that extension does. So that's there. Okay. So once you have it all populated, you're ready to share it. You go up here to the top right-hand side and you click the download button. And from here, you can download it in multiple formats. One of those is a PNG, and that format is great for web work or any electronic media. Excuse me. Another one is a JPEG for more print-friendly versions, or for those smaller file sizes. And then lastly is a PDF. And these are for those documents, or just, printing it to hand out at an event or something like that. So, and once you click on this, once you say, okay, I want to download it as a PDF, and then you select download, it literally just collects all the information behind the scenes and dumps it into your downloads folder. Okay. So there's that. And then you can just open it and there it is. Okay. So let's go ahead and navigate back to here. Another thing you can do from this, when you have this file open, is to share it. And there's multiple ways you can share it. You can add colleagues here. So maybe if you and someone on a team that you work with are creating a series of workshop flyers, you can go in here and add them to the folder, and then that way they can go in and you can set whether they can access it, if they can edit it, or just view it different ways. You can also share this in Teams or on a OneDrive. So it's pretty flexible in how you can share directly from Express. As I mentioned before, maybe you're creating a series of workshops for maybe a 3 or 4 workshops on raised bed gardening. One's going to focus on selecting a spot. Another one's going to focus on actual, great construction of the beds themselves. So you want maybe to create 3 or 4 of these that look similar. And I'll show you how I did this really quickly. If you navigate up here to the upper right-hand corner where there's a 1, it says view all pages. If you select that, you can actually, when this appears, you'll see these 3 dots here. You can duplicate this page and then maybe go click into that one. I'll show you how I got there. Just double click on it. And then maybe this one is going to focus on raised bed garden. Actually, we don't even have to type anything else in here. Maybe I'll just do this one. Maybe they'll talk about different gardening structures, if you will. So anyway, that's one way that you can create a series of flyers that look similar. Again, and once you're in here, you can change this, you can change this, you can change the dates, but it will have that same look and feel as the others in the series. Excuse me. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to, let's navigate over to our, let's just go home first, actually, which is this A in the upper left-hand corner. Let's just go home. We're going to navigate to the brand folder. Get back into the extension one. Let's look at some of these templates again. Again, we're going to navigate to templates. And let's go ahead and snag. Let's see here. What else should we work on? Let's do this one. This is a general flyer, and there's 4 options in here. So essentially, you get a preview of what that looks like. When you click on it, you get that higher level look or that closer look. Let's go ahead and start a new file. And again, it's migrating a copy of this under your login. Okay. And again, the first thing I want you to do is express, first name this whatever is appropriate for the job you're working on. Express training event flyer. Okay. And once you are here, you will notice on this one, this little arrow appears right here. And that's because there are 4 options within this template. We also know that by navigating up here to the top where there's a 4. And if you click on that, again, you get that bird's eye view of the 4 options. And from here, you can do a few things. If you have a multi-page document, you can rearrange them. And whenever you're here, you can also decide, oh, I really like this gray one here with the Ohio, with the Blocko pattern in it. So I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to delete this one. And I'm going to delete this one. Therefore, I'm left with my 1-page document. Again, you update the headline, or you could put a photo in here if you want. You can just delete this when you're done. All of your text blocks here are editable. Again, please don't change the style of these. And I will also mention, I don't know that we've had a URL end up in one of the other templates that I worked on, but you'll notice here down in the bottom, the URL on this is in Scarlet, and that is a part of university brand guidelines, is that all URLs are in red. They pop, and they just draw attention to them really, really nicely. So, okay. So it's really just a matter of populating this. One thing I will mention here is you'll notice none of these headlines are in all caps. The university does not prefer all caps in headlines. So whenever we use headlines, we have to use the serifed font. And it needs to be in just standard uppercase for the first and then lowercase for the rest of that block. Okay, the exception is on subheadings. You'll see some subheadings. It is okay here to do here, but again, don't make this font block the Buckeye serif. That is inappropriate use of the brand. So, okay. And actually, if you just notice what I did there, this is much easier to read if it's in the Buckeye Sans. So, Okay. All right, let me see here. What else have I not mentioned in the training? Let me go to select in here. If you have any questions about these, any of the templates, or if you think of a template that I don't have in here already, please let me know. Always happy to update them. I go in and make tweaks to them as I see things that might need just massaged out a little bit. The one thing I do want to be sure to mention is you never have to save the work that you do in Express. It is all saved behind the scenes um, instantaneously for you. Another thing I will mention while we're here is that if you end up working in a file and it just seems like it's being a little glitchy or not wanting to type in a text block, go ahead and hit refresh, because Express is a web-based program. So it doesn't operate off of the cloud, it is strictly web-based. That being said, sometimes there get to be little glitches behind the scenes, and that's okay. We just hit refresh, and 99 times out of 100, it fixes it. So your work is not lost, it's there. And sometimes it just needs a little reset. So if you have any other specific questions when you work in Express, please let me know. I am always happy to share what I do know, and or if I don't know, seek out the answer, and therefore I'm learning as we go. One thing I don't think I've mentioned this. You look up here, I'm just looking at the screen thinking what I haven't talked about yet. If you look over here to the comment section, this is helpful in sharing questions, comments, concerns, work that you're doing back and forth with colleagues. I know you can do this in other programs, Word, PowerPoint, PDFs. But again, this built-in capability that it tracks it all and you don't have to export and email versions of a file back and forth. This keeps track of that conversation right here for you. So, trying to think if there's anything else that before I end this training that would be beneficial to know. There are lots of, I'm going to go over here and over to this templates. This templates option, I don't want you to confuse this with the options of templates in the brand folder for extension. This templates option, just from your main screen there, takes you into all of the pre-designed templates within Express. And it's really easy to start going down rabbit holes here. But when it comes down to it, none of these templates were created with the Ohio State brand in mind. And that's what we need to adhere to. So that's why the specific extension brand folder was created, so that we can make sure that the templates we are putting out adhere to the Ohio State brand. I guess one of the last things I want to mention is more of a comment about why branding matters and why guidelines matter. And I'm going to go ahead and navigate into a job that was shared with me to do this. And while I'm getting here, let me see here. So I'm just going to use this for an example. One of your colleagues in Hancock County contacted me and said, hey, we have some Master Gardener volunteers who put together this plants and pollinator poster, and it's not quite on brand. The info is there, but how do we elevate it? How do we get it? How do we get it to meet brand standards? And part of that is not just getting it to meet brand standards, but enhancing the readability of it. Because when we follow brand guidelines, when we follow a very specific and very well thought out pattern of thought when it comes to why we use certain fonts a certain way, and why we adhere to a certain layout, you will see with the second page that I show you here with the revised version, how that thought process actually affects the consumability or the readability of a message. And that essentially is what drives a lot of brand work, is making sure that the messages we send to people by way of a poster, by way of an event flyer, by way of a presentation, by way of a bookmark, whatever message we are sending them, we want it to be very clear and easy for them to digest that message. And we also want to make sure that it is very clear that that message is coming from Ohio State. So here is what the Master Gardener volunteers came up with. They did a tremendous amount of footwork. They went out and collected all the pictures. They have the common name, the scientific name, descriptions of all the flowers and stuff on here. That, like I mentioned, that's a big undertaking to do. So what Kathy and I were able to do was work together in Express. She had this as a PDF. The volunteers had turned a PDF over to her, and we imported it into Express. And by way of grouping like things, using headlines a certain way, using subheadlines a certain way. This is what we came up with. And I'm fairly confident we can all agree that option number two is much more user friendly, is much easier for a client to consume, to read, and to get information off of than this one. So that's just a more of a push for why brand matters and why we use Express as a tool to help us achieve brand application across the work that Extension does. So again, my name is Marissa. If you have any questions about Express, please let me know. I'm always happy to answer them. Just send me a Teams chat or an email, or call me, whatever is most convenient for you. All right. And I think that wraps it up. Thanks so much.